Hello, good morning, Bethany. It's a pleasure to talk to you. We've been chatting via Messenger for a little while now, and the reason why we're having an Archaeo-Chat this morning is because you've just done an Archaeology A-Level, and well, we both thought it might be interesting to sort of talk a little bit about that. And I suppose, first of all, why did you choose to do an A-Level? I gather it wasn't that straightforward in your school.
I wish it was straightforward. Well, originally for my A-Levels, I was studying history and philosophy along with a couple of other subjects. And I knew I wanted to do something to do with history because I've always loved it. But the history A-Level just, it wasn't working. And philosophy was really difficult. And I wanted to do something different that were a subject that I knew would be suited to me personally and would kind of tailor all of the needs that I had as a student. And I scouted around and I saw that AQA did an Archaeology A-Level, and I approached my teachers and said, listen, I really want to do this, and even if it means I have to, you know, do a whole load of work myself, I just really want to study this. So we kind of all worked together, and yeah, I was able to do it.
Right, and is AQA, is that an exam board, is it?
Yeah, it's the exam board.
Right, so okay, so they provide the end examination and the materials and this kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now the reason why I'm so fascinated by this is that actually I don't know that many people who have done archaeology at A-level, and obviously at the moment you've been looking into, for example, what the first years of university courses are like, and how would you say that the content compares? For example, you often hear about, say, lawyers or psychologists or whoever saying you have to essentially forget everything you did in your A-level as soon as you get to uni. Do you think that might be true?
I'm not really sure. I don't really think you have to forget everything when you're going into uni. I think it just depends what you've done. I know that when I was looking at courses for me, I was kind of comparing the first year with the A-level to kind of see, you know, what content is new and everything. And I was looking through it, and the thing is with archaeology in university, a lot of the time the first year across all universities is quite similar. It's usually just introductory things, just because not many people get to do the A-level. And I looked at the course, at the A-level course, I thought, well, I've done half of this year. That first year of university would basically be revision with a couple of new things thrown in. So I don't think it's true that necessarily you forget everything. There is this myth where teachers say, oh, you know, you do your A-level but then forget everything you've been taught is wrong, and it's not really like that at all. Right,
I see. Okay, so in that sense, it's possibly more akin to doing a repeat of a foundation year, for example.
Yeah.
So it's like a refresher. Okay,
I think there's a few universities where you can take a foundation year in archaeology and then do the 3-year course. But most of them it's just 3 years, but the first year is so similar.
Okay, interesting. Now, what has been your experience of doing an A-level in archaeology? I gather it's been quite particular.
It was hard. When I chose to do it, I'd already done the first year of my A-levels, and it got to the end of that year, it got to like May, June time last year, and that was when I changed and decided I want to do this one. So I did a 2-year course in 9 months, which in a way it was kind of helpful. It was an interesting experience, and it was nice to be able to, even though I did it in 9 months, it was kind of like doing the work at my own pace. When I did it, I was working in the school, and I didn't have it timetabled because it was literally just me. I was the only student to do it, and I was working with my classics teacher because I took classical civilization as well. And she was helping me through that, and we would figure out when we had free time, and then I would go and sit with her. But most of the time it was spent me sitting in the library ploughing through all of these essays and textbooks and basically teaching myself.
Right.
I think that was quite good because it was, a lot of people say, oh, you know, when you go to university, the first year is really helps you, you know, sort out your independence. But I think doing the A-level in the space of time that I did, I think that helped me a lot in figuring out my independence, and it gave me a lot more confidence. It was just a lot of hard work.
Okay. Well, then, if you've come across this yet, but there's quite a strong I don't know, sense in the archaeological world, especially when it comes to classical archaeology, and a slightly strong sort of resonance in terms of the classicists believe that the archaeology is questionable, and the archaeologists believe that the documents are questionable. And there's this slight sort of tension going on. I mean, for example, in Durham University, I know there's a bit of tension between the classics and the archaeology departments at times. I mean, did you find that at all working with a classicist on archaeology? Was she sort of at times frowning?
No, I don't think so. The thing with the Classics A-Level was that there was actually an archaeology module in it.
Right.
In fact, there was two. You had one in the AS which was about Mycenae and Greek archaeology, and then the second year you did a whole thing about Roman Britain. But there wasn't really. It didn't lead to fights or anything. We were quite well behaved. I don't think there was any frowning or conflict. But she'd also, even though she does teach classics, she does have quite an interest in archaeology as well.
Right.
So it was actually quite beneficial.
Okay.
But I have noticed that.
It's definitely true. It's definitely true. And in my experience, it's even worse when it gets to the medieval period. But okay, well, that's really interesting. And I suppose one of my questions, having been to a school when I was in high school many years ago now, where they didn't have, for example, archaeology as an option. There was history, there was even actually psychology, the sciences and maths and music, so on. But archaeology just wasn't an option. Do you think archaeology should be more commonly available in schools?
Yeah, I think it should be, because it's strange to have an exam board that offers it to anyone, but for it not to be available to everyone, half the people don't even know that it exists.
No.
I mean, when I started taking it, my friends were all really kind of concerned about what I was going to do if I dropped history and philosophy, and then I came back the next day and said, "Oh, I'm doing archaeology now," and they said, "But is that even an A-level? Like, do you even need a qualification in archaeology?" But I've noticed that you can study it at college. It just seems strange that a sixth form college would offer it, but a sixth form department in a school wouldn't. And I think that it should be available to anyone, especially for people that study classics, because a lot of people that I know study classics were interested in the archaeology modules. And I think it would have been beneficial to have that. And even if it meant 1 year nobody took it, at least it's there and available for everyone the next year. But no, it is strange that no one seems to offer it. I went to a open day at Newcastle University when I was applying, and it was specifically the Archaeology Open Day, and we were asked, is there anyone here that has done the A-level? I think there was me and 2 other people out of a group of nearly 40.
Wow.
That had done it. And even universities know how rare it is to do it, and when you fill in your UCAS applications and you're checking the offers, archaeology as an A-level isn't even mentioned because they know it's so rare for anyone to study it. They never expect you to do it. They don't expect anyone to do it.
No. Okay. Well, that's quite interesting because I mean, we've touched before on the YouTube channel on how archaeology as a degree and therefore career can actually prepare you for an awful lot of different things. You know, it touches on science, it touches on humanities, it touches on various elements of, for example, the environment and so on and so forth. It's actually quite a broad-based topic. and in that sense, I suppose if it was more widely available and universities expected it a little bit more frequently, it may actually be a really good answer for those people who just don't quite know what they want to do in university at the beginning of A-level. You know, you do something which is a science but also is an art. You know, do something which is historical but also has links with, say, chemistry and environmental issues. I mean, do you think it possibly would be a good preparation for people who maybe at the end of the course want to be something entirely different from where they started?
Yeah, I think so, because when you look at the different, say, career opportunities that you can get out of archaeology, you don't even have to go into archaeology when you've done it. You can. There's lots of people that go into like banking and become lawyers, and there's so many different paths, and because it's in its own way, it's quite a creative subject, depending on which aspects that you study. And if you're more of a sciencey person, there's plenty of stuff in it for you as well. And I think it would be quite a good course for people to do if they're not entirely sure, because of course when you go to university you can pick modules and tailor the course for you, and then, as I said, you can go into pretty much any career with it. But the sad thing is, with the subject, it seems in a lot of places it's quite undervalued. There used to be, well, you know, it would hardly be on television, and that was really one of the best ways to get it out to the public and people to understand it as a subject. And then you've got shows like Time Team and Brought It Along, and everyone was like, oh, that's amazing, I wish I could go and do that. And then it seems like it's slowly disappearing again. I think it would be more beneficial if people had the option to study it at school and think, oh, well, I can do this at university, and then I can do anything, I can do whatever I plan to do with it. I think it really does need to be more available to people as a subject, and no matter what age as well, really. Okay.
Well, yeah, and in that sense, there is the element of, and I know a lot of people who in high school were very, you know, they would say that they were very practical with their hands, but also they had an interest in history. And in that sense, actually, I suppose looking at history through the anchor, the physical anchor of archaeology, may be another way of getting those people's and their heads around that stuff, so they don't feel as though they have to just drop it and, you know, do something else in preparation for uni. Now, speaking of which, one thing I definitely remember is I was in, I mean, we've talked about this in the past, but I was in the second year to do the AS level, at that point, a brand new sort of element of the A level, and I remember there was an immense pressure to go to university, essentially, you know, and to pass your A-levels, pass well, go to uni, or you'll end up in a gutter somewhere, you know, with eating roadkill. And now it's quite clear that pressure's still there, and I understand that because you didn't. Well, actually, it sounds like quite a few people in your school didn't quite get the results that they wanted. But in your case, you've decided that you know which university you want to go to, and you're going to be essentially revisiting some of your A-levels this year, essentially having a revision gap year so that you can go to Newcastle. What will you be doing throughout the year?
I'll basically be going. I'm resitting my archaeology and my classics A-levels. So I didn't get particularly good grades for them. So it's basically going through the course, and because I've still got all of the information from last year, I can just revise it, have a practice at writing essays. The big thing to do is I have to rewrite my archaeology coursework, which was over 4,000 words. I have to apply to university again, so I'll be doing that in a couple of months, I think. But because I'm not going to school to resit them, and I'm not going to college because, unfortunately, even though the grades were appalling, I did pass my A-levels, and I can't go to college to resit something I've already passed. I'm not really sure what happens with the system. So basically, I am studying from home for a year. Again, like I did with the school, pretty much on my own and being self-taught, but I'm also trying to get a bit more tuition, a bit more guidance to find out what went wrong with the A-level, because particularly with the coursework, because it was predicted there was marked by 5 people in the school, and it was a very high mark. And then AQA dropped it to a D. So I thought, something's not right here. I need as much help as I can get while studying at home. So my classics teacher is giving me tuition for my classics reset. And I'm also in touch with James Gerard from Newcastle. And he said that he's going to, look through bits and pieces that I send him and try to help with the A-level. I think he's looking at my coursework at the minute.
Yeah.
And somebody else is trying to put me in touch with someone from the AQA exam board so I can figure out what's going on there. So it's basically just a massive reset year. Also hoping to get a job so I can, save up for uni, because I'm determined to get there in September. It's going to be busy, and hopefully in the summer go back for some more digging experience, because I didn't get a chance to do any of that this year. So it's kind of all systems go.
Yeah, wonderful.
And I obviously haven't learnt my lesson from last year, because I did a 2-year A-level in 9 months, and now I'm doing a 2-year A-level again in 9 months and a classics reset. So
well,
we're learning the hard way here.
Yeah, well, I have to say, in that sense, I really admire your gumption. I mean, you put it this way, you don't strike me as a D student. So it's one of those things where I really admire the fact that actually that you're wanting to you know what you want to do, you know which university you want to get into. Because it's worthwhile just saying, I mean, obviously you had gone through clearing and you were offered a place at another university. But fair play, well done on I suppose sticking at what you want to do. And frankly, some people have gap years where they just float around India, for a year, whereas you're actually refocusing on what you want to do. So good stuff. Well, in that sense, actually, obviously it would be a pleasure to revisit you maybe a couple of times over the next few months and just sort of see how it's going. I mean, I'm fascinated by this sort of process, especially with the A-level archaeology, and I'm sure lots of other people out there will be as well. So yeah, with that in mind, would it be okay to check back with you maybe a couple of times over the course of the year just to see how it's going?
Yeah, I think that would be quite interesting to do, because I'm doing loads of other stuff alongside with it. I think it'll also be beneficial for people who are thinking of studying classics and the archaeology side of that as well. So a lot of it is linked with the Archaeology A-Level, which is quite beneficial because it meant I didn't have to do as much work. But no, I'm planning to do quite a bit more, and like I said, I want to go and do some more digging experience sometime next year. So I would have that as well.
Wonderful.
And my uni application, hoping that goes okay.
Grand. Well, hopefully, obviously, next time we see you, you'll have even better news on that front. And yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you. And hopefully, for people out there who are wondering what it's like to maybe approach archaeology by doing an Archaeology A-Level, this could be a really interesting insight. Anyway, as ever, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Bethany, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Great. Thank you. Bye.